When it comes to web app and API security, the choice is simple. You can choose Fastly's security solution that teams will actually use in full blocking mode, just like 90% of their customers. Or you can stick with costly options that you probably just turn off. You can get Fastly's all-in-one platform that protects apps everywhere they live, however they're built. Or departments can agree to disagree. You can go to securityweekly.com/Fastly to learn more. Or you can just wish you had. Here's Jacob. He's uploading documents to the cloud and chatting notes to his outside agency partners. This is Zoe. She's rushing to share the customer list with marketing and is sending the latest product roadmap to her mobile device. Which one of them is creating insider risk? They both are. Everyone creates insider risk, sometimes with malicious intent and sometimes just by doing their jobs. Empower productivity and protect your data with Code 42 Insider. Visit securityweekly.com/Code42 to learn more. Searching for the best way to protect passwords and privileged accounts? Thycotic empowers security and IT operation teams to discover, secure, and manage all types of privileged accounts with the fastest time to value of any privileged access management solution. Get up and running fast with solutions for privileged account discovery, turnkey installation, automation, auditing, and reporting tools with Thycotic's free 30-day trial. Thycotic, the fastest growing PAM provider in the market, available both on-premise and in the cloud. Get started today with a free Thycotic secret server trial at securityweekly.com/Thycotic. Welcome back, everyone, to Enterprise Security Weekly. Security Weekly listeners will save $100 on their RSA Conference 2021 All Access Pass. RSA Conference will be a fully virtual experience from May 17th through the 20th. Security Weekly will be live streaming next week, Monday through Thursday, in virtual broadcast alley, interviewing some of the top sponsors and speakers for the event. To register using our discount code, please visit securityweekly.com/RSAC 2021. Use the code 5U1Cyber. We hope to virtually see you there. Artsiom Holub and Austin McBride from Cisco Umbrella are here with us today. Artie is a senior security analyst and frequent presenter at conferences such as RSA, Black Hat, and The First. Austin is a data scientist and regular contributor to the Cisco Umbrella security blog. They join us today to talk about some of the chart-topping threats. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thanks for having us.
Hi, guys.
Nice to have you both here. Looking forward to our discussion today. I think in terms of trends and threats, one of the topics that we were talking about that I'd like to start with is crypto mining, which is interesting because early in our actual Security Weekly's push to the cloud and containers, someone took over our container environment and uploaded a container to do crypto mining. And this was several years ago, and don't leave your Docker API exposed. Some people still do today, right? But crypto mining has really taken off, and I think the prediction is we'll continue to do so. So I'll turn it over to the both of you to kind of set the stage by starting with this threat and then moving into other areas that we see fit.
Sure, absolutely. So yes, we see a lot of containerized crypto mining going on in a lot of different environments. I'll take one step back, though, for some of the listeners, just to kind of explain the basics of what crypto mining is. So we'll use Bitcoin as an example. So cryptocurrency mining really is just the process of generating new units of cryptocurrency. So in the case of Bitcoin, a miner will use computing power to generate P2P Bitcoin transactions and is rewarded with new Bitcoins proportional to the amount of networking and compute they added to verify those transactions. So that's how you make money mining Bitcoin, and it's very similar with other cryptocurrencies. That's one of the reasons that we see malicious actors, hijacking infrastructure in order to mine on your dime and get free money out of it.
Yeah, Austin, I kind of liken this to the transaction fee is kind of built in the way that you described it. And, I think the example in a bank would be if I were to make an ACH transfer, there would be a transaction fee, right? And in Bitcoin, that's a kind of a community-driven experience, right?
Correct. That's right. And what we're seeing in enterprise environments really is a flavor of crypto mining, which is cryptojacking, which is basically just the secret use of your computing infrastructure to mine cryptocurrency. So that could be like in JavaScript browser exploit, or it could be code running in one of your EC2s or set up on one of your servers or individual machines. There's quite a few different ways that people can use your infrastructure. Some are a little bit more nefarious than others. Here actually is a quick breakdown of kind of what we see crypto mining wise across different verticals. So obviously this changes over time, but we use anonymized customer demographic information and then pair that with the robust amount of DNS security logs that we process, over 650 billion a day. And this gives us an idea of how this activity impacts certain verticals. So as you can see here, higher education and financial services are kind of at the top for crypto mining specifically. And I would say in the financial services sector, this is mostly not customers that are in the business of day-to-day mining. This is someone just taking use of the infrastructure, whether that be an internal party like an employee or an external party that came in to set up some mining software while they look for something else to do in your environment.
Yeah, awesome. I'm actually surprised to see higher education and financial services kind of have an equal share of being the victims of crypto mining. I would think higher education would have been a little higher and not so much with financial services. I tend to think of financial services as a little more hardened, but.
Yeah, so quick question there. Are you able to separate out like illegitimate crypto mining from intentional crypto mining in that?
So there's a way from our end for us to tell the difference between those two. And I'll break down just briefly what those are. So legitimate crypto mining would be crypto mining that you yourself are doing. It could be an individual employee that's mining for themselves on corporate networks. So that's technically, I guess, legitimate, but according to the business, it would be considered illegitimate because they're using corporate resources, of course, to do that. But we can tell from our end what's illicit versus legitimate purely based off of whether that specific customer is in the business of mining cryptocurrency. So the vast majority of our customers are not. So if they see crypto mining in their environment, they're going to want to stop it because it's not something that's contributing to the bottom line.
Okay.
We also noticed a strong correlation between the amount of crypto mining or cryptojacking when the prices are changing. So when the Bitcoin and all of the cryptocurrencies, which usually tied to the Bitcoin, dropped significantly, so did the whole crypto mining and cryptojacking activities. But now when we see another boom, another peak of price, it's no surprise that crypto mining and cryptojacking is picking up. So again, some of the charts might be a little bit biased because we only can tell what we see. It doesn't really cover the whole picture. And we also don't really know what's the deal with a lot of the cloud-based services. A lot of cloud-based services had to include crypto mining activities in their service agreements because a lot of them are being abused by the people who are supposed to do something good with it, but instead they're using all of that power to mine coins, which in many ways is not what those services are designed for. And most services, they don't really account for 100% use of their power that they provide. And usually, if you do some legitimate things, you don't really use all of that power. But if you're using it for crypto mining or cryptojacking, and you are in control how much resources you can get towards your crypto mining process, you probably rank it up all the way to 100%. So again, strong correlation between the price of the cryptocurrencies and crypto mining, cryptojacking activities. That's one thing that we observed recently.
So I have two quick questions for you guys. Does the amount of available coins matter? Like if you've kept this data over time, as Bitcoin has been mined more and more and more, obviously the amount of available coins decreases, thus the price increases, and it takes longer to pop a coin out. Have you guys seen a change in the amount of crypto mining jacking that's occurring based on that shift? And then my second question is there particular cryptocurrencies that get targeted more than others? Is it always Bitcoin? Do they do Ethereum or Litecoin or insert other coin here? Are you seeing any trends around those as well?
Sure. I'll take the first question, and then Artie, if you want to take the second one. So we have seen just a general uptrend in crypto mining, period, and this is for a wide variety of coins. As you mentioned, the number of Bitcoins are dwindling, and mining difficulty is steadily increasing. So what we have seen a shift in from last year to this year is a movement from malicious third parties targeting smaller businesses that maybe have less compute available to use for mining, and that's transitioned over to more enterprise environments where they have a lot more EC2 instances and a lot more infrastructure to be leveraged for mining coins that are a little bit more difficult than some of the other coins or what they had been in the past. So we're still going to see a continual shift and increased use of infrastructure and a little bit more targeting towards the enterprise space. But you're also going to see a lot of variety in other coins. Artie, do you want to chime in on that?
Yes, if we talk about cryptojacking, you rarely see people mining something like Bitcoin, but because as it was mentioned, it requires like enormous amount of power. So it's usually professional Bitcoin miners who can build a significant amount of power, like a whole mining farm to mine that. I think that also attends something to the Ethereum. What we see from illicit crypto mining and cryptojacking, Monero, it is a highly distributed network of mining pools, and also that coin was built with anonymity, and it was built as much private as possible, which makes it a lot easier, a lot harder for researchers to track where those funds are going to. So a lot of the cryptojacking activities actually geared towards what they call altcoins. Bitcoin and Ethereum would be like a primal example of coins, but if we look at the amount of altcoins out there right now, there are probably hundreds, maybe getting into the thousands. So all of them are being mined with any kind of the possibilities. But from illegal standpoint of view, most coins that being mined that way are probably Monero coins, because once again, they used for anonymized purchases. It's a lot harder for law enforcement and for researchers to track. And also we see the introduction of the Bitcoin mixers or just cryptocurrency mixers. That's where any kind of coins going into the mixer, and then they make multiple transactions going from Bitcoin to Ethereum, from Ethereum to Monero, from Monero to many other altcoins, and then they've been converted back, and that's how they hide the tracks of the funds that were either acquired through illicit crypto mining or cryptojacking.
Awesome. Where do we want to go from here now that we've definitely covered crypto mining? I think pretty well. Are there certain detections and defenses that you have in terms of recommendations?
Well, I think if you want to protect your network from illicit crypto mining activity, there are like few ways to do that. So if we talk about the majority of kind of low effort crypto mining, it's relatively easy to identify that activity just by monitoring mining pools, because mining pools, it's something that's supposed to be publicly available. So just having that block list in place on monitoring activity of any connection to these mining pools can help you to identify and limit this kind of activity within your network. Other than that, when crypto mining software getting bundled with other malware, so you won't see just straightforward, for example, a credential stealing malware. It will add crypto mining just for the sake of additional income. So first part of the malware will steal some credentials, and second part of the malware will drop that miner to be present in your network as long as you don't notice it. So in that sense, you have to apply just your regular security approach, where you don't really want any kind of malware, will it be credential stealing malware or mining malware, to be on your network. So it's hardening endpoints, have the layered security approach to your enterprise in protecting from these activities, just like from any other malicious activities.
And when you say monitor mining pools, I assume that there's, like in most content security, DNS security products, it's just going to be a checkbox for crypto mining, right? That you can check. But I assume it would be by domain name?
Correct. For the most part, it's just a fixed block list, which we as the security researchers identify. So usually you get if we talk about the software-based crypto mining malware, you reverse engineer it and you see if there is a static list of the pools that it's connected to, you extract that and then you import that into your block list. Or there are like a lot of publicly available one, the one that anyone can connect to in many cases, because the entry bar into the illicit crypto mining is so low. Script kiddies do that. They just take some, very well-known vulnerability, bundle it with the exploit, attach mining software to it, and just send it out, hoping that it will, land somewhere.
Yeah, that's right. And, we're not saying that the vast majority of people who are watching or any specific environment, you're going to see crypto mining in your environment. The amount that you see in there is really what you need to worry about. So we're not saying that all crypto mining activity in your environment is inherently bad or that it's going to weigh down your system, but there are certain things that you should look for, especially in your DNS query logs, that will kind of point you in the direction of if it's something that you really need to worry about versus not. I think we have a slide on this already. So they're kind of like two flavors that we see a lot of crypto mining wise on the DNS side of the house. So one is web-based mining and the other is software-based mining. So in the case of web-based mining, these are generally JavaScript exploits that are only working in browser while you're visiting a page. So if you're on a site that's not a typical site and you're watching a 30-minute video, there could be an ad or a mining script in the background that's leveraging your system to mine very small amounts of cryptocurrency while you're visiting that page. And as soon as you leave that page, close the tab, X out of your browser, it's done, and it kind of drops off the map. And so that's why you can see here on the side, we see these very small spikes upward. And so these are web-based miners, where it's just mining a coin for a very brief period of time. And if you get enough people visiting that site and doing it, it could be profitable. The latter case is the one that everybody should worry about, and that's software-based miners. And so this is actual software installed in your system that is mining software as long as your computer is on and connected to the internet. So what we've seen in this situation is kind of two different use cases. So we've seen an individual who works for the company leverage corporate hardware in order to mine, and that's something that is not as bad as a third party coming in, but probably something you still need to remediate. And then, as I said, the latter is a malicious third party coming into your environment to set up mining software. So what we've seen a lot of is someone will find a way to get into your system. They will set up mining software in order to make passive income while they peruse your environment for either data to exfiltrate or to hold you for ransom. So software-based crypto mining in your environment can actually be an indicator that something worse is brewing. And so it requires further investigation. And so when you're looking at your DNS query logs and you're trying to determine whether you've got software-based traffic versus web-based traffic, really what you need to look for is anywhere between 500 to 1,500 DNS queries a day, coming from a specific machine or server to kind of point to you that some sort of pool activity is happening in your environment and that you need to take a couple of additional steps.
So, Austin, to detect mining in your DNS traffic, it sounds like largely it's based on volume, not necessarily what domains are being queried.
It's based off of the domains that are being queried, but also the volumes. If you've got 1,500 DNS queries a day going that are tagged as crypto mining, whether you're using something like Umbrella or another software, your own custom block list, if you see that amount of traffic coming from an individual machine or endpoint, it's probably worth investigating. The domains could be something that you're familiar with or not, but it's really the DNS query volume that's tipping you off. And then you can go dig a little bit deeper to say, okay, well, this happens to be a Monero miner versus one of the other altcoin miners that's out there. So it helps you kind of hone in on what you need to do and what type of mining you're dealing with.
Yeah, it helps form your incident response, whether it's an insider threat or some external threat as well, and whether that internal, insider is acting malicious or if it's something that's sanctioned, right? I mean, this is all just good visibility to have into your infrastructure.
We actually had a recent, a couple months back, one of our customers actually used our crypto mining. So basically, with an umbrella, we have the ability for you to do a checkbox, right, and block crypto mining that's happening in your environment. And so this specific customer was a retailer, and they noticed large spikes in activity coming from a couple of their different storefronts. And as it turns out, an employee actually had set up mining software on the demo laptops that customers are supposed to play with on several machines on several different retail locations. And so using Umbrella, they were able to figure out, okay, what stores are being hit, and ultimately figure out which employee was installing the software to make a little extra cheese on the side.
Right. That's really funny.
It's the modern equivalent of stealing office supplies.
Yeah, that's right.
That's very true. Very true. Are there other types of attacks that you're seeing that you believe could be trends, in 2021, or things that are popular that people aren't paying enough attention to, I guess I should say?
So I would say that the things that we're seeing, we've seen a huge uptick in, obviously, ransomware and Trojan activity. A lot of it actually tied to COVID. So COVID has been interesting. We've seen so many new phishing sites and ransomware sites purely spun up, preying off people's fear around the pandemic. Where can I go get free testing? Scams set up to pay me $800 or more to get your first COVID shot, first vaccine in order to be protected. So we've seen a large uptick, primarily in phishing and ransomware and Trojan activity related to the pandemic. But even without that traffic, we've still seen a large uptrend in those specific threat types. Hardy, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, I think today we can't avoid but talk about ransomware given the recent events. And one thing that we noticed is that heavy uptick in loader Trojan activity. And a big reason behind that is that today you rarely getting any kind of standalone ransomware. Ransomware becomes the result of multi-stage attack. So it's not like before I think this one. So before, what we've seen is that ransomware actors were going after the individuals. So what they will do is that they will weaponize mail spam with the actual ransomware. So they will send out these hundreds and millions of emails hoping that one of the people will click on it, and then their computer will be taken with data taken hostage, and they will request ransom. So the way to make money from it was to infect as many victims as possible, get a lower ransom, and hope to get paid out. However, throughout few last years, what we noticed is that instead of actually starting with the ransomware right away, because the defenses actually evolve, people start utilizing a lot more cold storage backups. What actors changed is their approach to go after the big and juicy targets. So now the initial part of the attack still looks like a mail spam, but instead of the ransomware being deployed right away, you have something which we call the loader. Loader initially just fingerprints the system to get the understanding what kind of network it got the access to. Follow-up malware usually steals the information, any possible information about the network, and then some kind of the post-exploitation framework is being deployed. Today we see a lot of weaponized Cobalt Strike framework, which initially was used just for the pen testing, actually being used to take the whole control of the network, and as a final stage to deploy ransomware. So, recent events, I think, most likely is the result of this type of the attack, where someone got access to the part of the company's network. They figure out that that network, is owned by a significant company, which probably can pay, decent amount of money, and also their data is very valuable. They probably spend some time figuring out what are the backup procedures and things like that, probably obtaining some kind of the credentials for the lateral movement. And then when they were ready, they deployed the ransomware, which resulted not in just some data being taken hostage, but in the actual disruption for the core business of that company. And again, that's, I think, the reason why we see uptick in all sorts of the malware out there being it, and for the most part, it's being loader. One of the most famous loaders, which were pretty much the number one to being deployed in any kind of the enterprise last year, was Emotet. But because of the law enforcement and other private and public companies participating all together, where they were able to take it down. But as we see, that business model is actually so valuable for the cybercrime that other types of the loaders popped up immediately. It took less than a few months for new cyber gang to apply the same kind of approach that Emotet actors were applying. And now we see like all sorts of the malware, trending in attacks to, our customers as well.
Artie, how much of this process do you believe is automated, and like which parts require human intervention from the attackers?
In my opinion, most of the initial reconnaissance steps are pretty much automated. So loader being deployed in automated way, all of the information is being collected is also automated. But then I think an actual human looks at the data, chooses the most valuable targets, and then when the post-exploitation framework is being deployed, most likely that's an actual human sitting out behind, just like a pen tester who got the initial access. He's sitting behind his computer and crumb by crumb, step by step, exploring the network, looking for the weak parts of it. And then, we still don't know if that's the same people who deploying ransomware, doing all of this reconnaissance. Or, in my opinion, most likely the person just identifies the most valuable network and then advertises it on probably like dark market for the biggest bidder. And my reasoning behind that is that we don't really have just one sort of that ransomware being used in this type of attack. Like we've seen Ryuk being used in very similar way. Now DarkSide is taking its place. Maze was doing the same. And I think those are competing gangs that are, bidding on this kind of access to the biggest network. And then whoever wins, they got, to deploy their ransomware.
I think it's super interesting to see the progression and evolution of the attackers, because I feel like we've fully transitioned from folks looking for PII, which of course still exists, right, to basically using that initial access to then commit a ransomware or enact a ransomware attack, and that becomes the monetization. Where I feel like 10 years ago, they were more focused on, I'm going to get credit card numbers, I'm going to get PII, and then I'm going to go sell that on the dark market. Now it seems more about selling access and using ransomware to monetize.
Correct. And I think we can speak, once again about the cryptocurrencies, because I think they make it easier for cybercrime to monetize their activities.
Right.
As you mentioned before, they used to steal credit cards, but the chain from credit card being stolen to get the money out of that credit card and to actually turn that money into the something that you can use was quite long. There would be money mules, there will be some illegal marketing schemes where people had to buy some kind of products, then sell those
iPhones.
products.
Yeah.
Sorry. And only then
iPhones.
Get those money.
Yeah. And I think it was easier in that scenario to put up barriers to push attackers to a different style of monetization, right? I think PCI shined a light on that. And I think a lot of the other credit card fraud protections didn't solve it completely, but solved it enough that attackers started shifting, right? And going, wait a minute, I can monetize way more easily with cryptocurrency and ransomware and not have to worry about all the headaches that we created for them in credit card fraud.
Correct. Yes, like definitely. That's what we see anytime any type of the defense is being implemented. Attackers, when their life becoming a lot harder than they are willing to put effort in. They look for something easier. And in this case, I think, cryptocurrency gave them the opportunity to monetize it in a lot more easier way, right? And also it opened the doors for other types of the cybercrime to come in, right? Like we've seen developing of the Bitcoin mixers or cryptocurrency mixers. So that, nefarious type of the cybercrime business is also evolving and developing new kind of services that needed in that kind of a niche cybercrime business groups.
Are mixers and tumblers the same thing? Or are those just different words for the same thing?
Yeah, I think they can be used interchangeably.
Okay. Also, you talked about mining cryptocurrency, ransomware. Two different ways that they can make money, both using cryptocurrency, usually, or at least leveraging it. Do we still also see these folks going after hot wallets and cold wallets and cryptocurrency exchanges?
Oh yeah, I mean we still see a lot of that. So they'll set up.
Oh, I think we lost Austin there for a second. Oh, you're back. Sorry. You might need to restart, Austin. You had some bandwidth.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry about
bandwidth
that.
delay. No worries.
Hotel Wi-Fi is not the greatest.
No, certainly not.
But yeah, so as I was saying, we do still see a lot of phishing sites that are set up specifically for different exchanges. So they'll get you to put in your credentials. They'll use a 2FA workaround in order to get in, and then they'll empty your wallet. And use that for either buying additional malicious infrastructure, because at the moment you can't necessarily go to a store and use your Monero to buy a wide variety of things, or to buy a house at the moment. So they're using that to buy additional infrastructure to kind of bolster their malicious enterprise, to kind of get a bigger grab of chunk of change as the market still kind of develops, and there's a little bit more time that it's going to take for you to be able to use Monero to purchase a home and to buy all those things you want without having to in the past buying gift cards, buying products, and then selling those online, and having a longer turnaround time to actually getting hard cash that you can use to purchase what you want.
Yes, we also see a lot more requests on dark market for the specific credentials to the exchanges, because in that way the stolen funds, would it be gathered from illicit crypto mining, cryptojacking, or ransomware, can be laundered in some sense from those stolen credentials, because the person whose credentials are being used, he might not be the same person who is getting money out of it. So again, like phishing attacks on cryptocurrency users, they start popping up about 2-3 years ago. We had a big case, coin hoarder case, where the millions of dollars in cryptocurrencies were stolen from the users. We actually were able to work with the law enforcement and the Talos group to actually, take down that particular group. But again, just as with Emotet group, when there are money, there are people who are willing to put their time, even so they do, they do crime, but it's hard to stop this type of the crime without the entire global world coming together and stopping them. And, just as it goes with regular, money laundering or money transfers, like money usually go to the places where they don't have, law enforcement doesn't have jurisdiction, and then it's really hard to get, anything out of that back. And cryptocurrencies makes it even easier than what's done with fiat currencies.
Yeah, and I think probably the more value in getting people's credentials, again, is not the existing coins they have in their account, but as I already said, it's the ability to use that to launder money, or to set up. We've seen an instance about a year ago with Viacoin, where they'll choose a coin that has very low volume, and they'll just set up a bunch of bots, compromise 100 accounts, and then pump up the price of said coin that has low liquidity, and then cash out at the peak before it crashes. So in that case, I would say the credentials are a lot more valuable to the people who are purely just looking to use cryptocurrency and trading in order to get their cash out, when they don't want to rely on ransomware or doing other malicious efforts to get their money.
Mm. Awesome. You both have a great handle on the threat landscape out there, and I think it's a great endorsement for the work happening at Cisco Umbrella. Now, are many of these attacks? We know Cisco Umbrella for the DNS protections, but there's other products in that suite that can help organizations. Correct?
Yeah, we have several other offerings. We're big on SASE at the moment, but we also have a CASB product and a couple other things. Artie, I think we have a slide you can put up. So if you do want to come and learn a little bit more about some of the other offerings, that we have, you can definitely go to umbrella.cisco.com and check out what other things that we have available for your listeners. And then we also have a free 14-day trial if you want to try our DNS service to kind of see what traffic is coming through your environment, especially if you have IoT devices. It's pretty eye-opening once you connect your home network to see what's talking to the outer web when you think you have a more or less secure bubble around your house. But give it a try, whether for personal use or for enterprise, and we'd like to have you.
Fantastic.
But, yeah,
Artie.
So we don't offer a silver bullet that can solve all of the problems. Again, we recommend to use a layered approach for your security, have a good patch management, know what's going on in your network. But Cisco Umbrella provides a unique way of monitoring your DNS traffic and know what's going there from that point of view.
Fantastic. And if folks want to learn more, you can visit securityweekly.com/Cisco Umbrella. And there's some other URLs up there, but the landing page, of course, is securityweekly.com/Cisco Umbrella. Artie and Austin, thank you so much for appearing on Enterprise Security Weekly.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you guys for having us.
Coming up next, we're wrapping up the show with the Enterprise Security News. Stick around.